What's up? Good morning, everybody. Fix this. There we go. Good morning. Let me know if you guys can hear me and see me in the chat. I would greatly appreciate it. We'll get into some live trading today. We'll get into the game plan for the day, analysis. We got giveaways today. So lots to come this morning. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are doing well. Let me know in the chat where you guys are tuning in from. Which trading strategy best? Please tell me. TJ, I mean, I might be biased. I think order flow is the best. It's not really, order flow is not really a strategy, but analyzing order flow, analyzing the market auction, because that's what the market really is. But I mean, there's lots of ways to be a good, profitable trader. It's really up to you to just be consistent and disciplined, and do your due diligence to develop a profitable strategy that has a positive expectancy. There's pros and cons to all. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that one is for sure the best, right? I might be biased. I think analyzing the tape is the best way, because it's analyzing what really is moving the market, not in hindsight, in real time. So that's what we'll learn here today with me as far as analyzing live order flow and the setups and things that I'm watching out for. Welcome in from Germany. Order flow, liquidity, and market structure. I like that, Damien. That's solid. If you understand how to analyze order flow, where liquidity is, and the market structure based on if the market is balanced or imbalanced, that's all you need. Solid, solid. All right. Let's get into it here. As we jump into it, let's quick shout out to our sponsors of the channel, Apex. Make sure you use code CF if you'd like to get a discount. Prop Firm Trader on there as well. We are going to have giveaways as well. TradeZella, we've got a giveaway as well coming up. Let me double check on that. Yeah, 12-month TradeZella. Welcome in from Florida. Me too. Let me know in the chat. Anybody else here from Florida? Anybody else here from Florida? All right. So yeah, we got Apex giveaways, Alpha Capital giveaways, TradeZella giveaway. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Members here in the chat will be randomly selected based on their participation here in the YouTube stream. Also, if you're not already in the Chart Fanatics Discord, make sure you check that out. I've already shared my game plan over there for today in the Chart Fanatics Discord under the Matt Owen channel. So if you'd like to connect with other great traders, that's a great resource there as well. And if you'd like to see analysis from me, check that out. All right, so let's get into it. This is my Bookmap screen. This is one of my favorite order flow analysis tools for reading the tape live. So I'm looking at delta bubbles here, which is showing me the size of delta between buyers and sellers for pretty much each tick in price. But the more I zoom out, the more it groups orders together. The more I zoom in, I can zoom in by the second basically and see the delta of orders as they hit the tape, like basically instantly in real time. So, this is my tool. I also have the session volume profile over here. I also have Tradeovate and Deep Charts and Thinkorswim for other volume profiles and charts and things like that. Don't need all that, but just giving you guys an idea of what I use. Which trader is my favorite? Fabio or Marco? Well, Marco's a great dude and Fabio's a great dude. My strategy is probably more similar to Fabio because he's a tape reader as well. And that's what I do. That's what I've been doing for years. So neither is my favorite, but if you're asking who my style of trading is probably more similar to Fabio. All right. So let's get into some higher time frame analysis here and go over what I'm watching out for. I like to keep things pretty simple. I start out my days mostly looking at the daily charts, 4-hour charts, 6-hour charts. And that's just to get a good feel of the overall market context and location. So let's take a look at the daily chart. If you're not aware, I primarily trade ES, the S&P 500. So that's where I spend the majority of my time, but I also do trade the NASDAQ, specifically more so when ES is grindy, or if there's just a solid play on one or the other based on relative strength or weakness, then I will take it where it makes sense. So just looking at the daily chart, a couple things from the higher time frames, right? So we had this major low here. This is an area just around 6,400 that I was paying a lot of attention to on the higher time frames. You can see we had kind of a triple bottom here before the market made it last all-time high push. So we spent a lot of February in this consolidation range, broke down, but kind of like a controlled demolition breakdown in this channel, not really like a waterfall type sell-off, but I had been watching this area, ding, we hit it, and we have had a really explosive rally off of it where we've had a few pullbacks along the way, but for the most part, we've just traded continuously higher here. We broke out of this channel range, right? And now we're coming up back towards 6,900. And this is kind of the key area that I want to watch. I drew a little blue box on it, but I'm basically watching this area, which was the start of the downtrending channel here after we broke these lows, right? So we had this multi-month consolidation range really in here. We had this multi-month consolidation range that we broke down, and then we kind of formed this channel that we were trading down in, right? But the last kind of lows of this consolidation before we really broke down is where I'm really paying attention to as a possible, I'm not saying it's going to happen, as a possible resistance area, right? This rally is pretty extended now, and we're coming up to a possible resistance area on a Friday. That's a possible, if we do find resistance there, we could mean revert, back down into this range, right? So we'll talk about some stuff on the volume profile here to get a little bit more specific. But just in general, I'm potentially watching out for this area. Now, if we break out of this kind of area where we're resisting right here and we maintain strength above, then we could squeeze out over this 6,900 for sure. And it could just be a mega squeeze, back up. The next thing that I would look at is really prior day highs up here, here. Don't have much other than that, right? So I'd be kind of looking at those prior highs, probably looking at the heat map on Bookmap or something to see if there's any areas where there's a lot of orders to possibly use as a target. But those are kind of the main higher time frame scenarios that I'm watching out for here. And obviously, if we have kind of an exhausted auction up here and fail to sustain up here, especially after this CPI pump into the highs, we're kind of teetering on the edge here of if we kind of resist and drop back down here, or if we continue. But I'll show you a little bit more on the volume profile, specifically what I'm watching out for. I will take questions and stuff throughout the stream, guys. I always try to keep my streams very educational focused. So make sure you guys are asking questions, and also people that ask good questions and are participating will be selected for our giveaways throughout the stream. And it helps everyone learn, it helps you learn, right? So we'll just take a quick look here at my 30-minute chart. Actually, let me zoom out. Zoom out. There we go. All right, so we'll take a look at my 30-minute chart here with a volume profile, daily volume profile. And so what I'm looking at here is, first of all, we had that really large rally that left this total volume shelf basically from earlier in the week when that Iran ceasefire war stuff was announced, right? The market exploded off that. And since then, we spent quite a bit of time pretty balanced, trying to find what was going to happen next here, right? So see the market built a lot of volume here. Again, pretty strong rally, and then again, balance, right? So we have balanced here basically since yesterday. You see the point of control there, right in the middle, pretty well defined balance range that established from yesterday after kind of that morning rally into the afternoon. We spent the whole afternoon consolidating here. You can see most of the volume this day was built here. And then you can see overnight, we continued to respect that inside this range. Now on the CPI news here this morning, we attempted to break out, right? So we attempted to break out, and we can see the volume tail here that, at least in the near term, got exhausted, and that breakout was not accepted. We've pulled back. So the main thing that I'm watching here this morning is really this range of the value area loosely. I'm not super rigid about the value area level here, but just looking at this value area from yesterday and into today kind of combined here, where we built this balance range. I'm watching to see this morning if buyers continue to hold kind of above this upper portion of this value area here, prior highs there as well, right? Do buyers hold this now? And we kind of also formed a little bit of a news demand area there, and actually, push this move out of here. If so, I'd probably look to capitalize on longs, at least just targeting the 6890 to 6900 up there. It's like the next kind of key whole number that I'd watch out for. If not, if it's not accepted and we see, if we pop and see signs of exhaustion that fail, then I'd probably look for this to be kind of an overextended, exhausted rally, and we either mean revert kind of back towards these point of controls from the last 2 days, which is kind of around 65 to 60-ish area, call it, 55, 60-ish, call it. So I'd be looking to target that maybe with shorts if we see exhaustion at the highs, or if really strong selling comes in and we break these lows, we could retrace a lot of this lower volume area back into where we bounced previously in here. That would be kind of the next phase if we break this down strongly. Drop that screenshot in the chat on Discord for you guys, if anybody's interested. So those are some scenarios that I'm watching out for here this morning. All right, so let me see what's in the chat here. Eric Lake said, I'm new to Bookmap, but excited to use it. Thanks for all you're doing for us. You're welcome. I appreciate you guys tuning in here, being a part of the team here. So let's just take a look back here at what happened at 8:30. We saw this huge spike. We can see down here at the bottom, you can see the volume delta bars, right? You see that massive spike there on the news at 8:30. But on this pop here, you can see the aggressive buying got exhausted, right? You can see large, small into these offers. So these offers on the heat map are passive sellers, right? So passive seller, big passive seller, big passive seller, big passive seller. This guy didn't even get all the way filled, right? You can see how the aggressive buying got large filled, weaker filled, so fully absorbed at this point at the high here, right? And then after that, we can see how the buying got dramatically weaker. It tried to pop, and we can see more offers stepping in to sell passively, got filled, held this, right? So at this point, the buyers got pretty exhausted and we started selling off back down, right? Not a huge aggressive selling back, but selling back, right? Now we're kind of just consolidating here around 70 to 73 375-ish. So we're kind of consolidating here right above that prior balance range from yesterday and overnight, right above prior highs there from overnight. So really on the edge, to be determined if buyers step back in and we hold this breakout and we continue to do this base rally, and basically this near-term balance range that we're watching turns into just another base that turns into another rally, base rally. Or if this kind of turns into an exhaustion tail up here at the high, if sellers drop back into this range, that could be kind of a near-term sign of weakness, and we could drop kind of back towards those 6860s, 6850s and below. It's Friday. Yep, it's Friday. The market has made a pretty extended move here. Massive V-shaped bounce back up into consolidation that occurred near all-time highs. So little extended going into a Friday is a little tricky, right? Got to watch out for possible rebalancing, possible profit taking from everybody that's been long this move. Especially fundamentally, a lot of this has occurred on the news of the Iran ceasefire deal. To me, that the market has already kind of priced that in, and that whole thing, to me at least, looks like it's on pretty thin ice. I've been talking about this with other people that I work with, and the ceasefire thing to me looks like it's on pretty thin ice. There's still very little commerce, very little ships actually going through the Strait of Hormuz. So the rally looks a little extended and a little maybe overly optimistic. We'll see. But again, the market can always stay extended and more unreasonable than we think. So I'm not just trying to fight it just for the sake of fighting it. What's up, SMB Financial? Welcome in. Happy Friday. Possible sell-off today? Absolutely. Anything's possible every day. One thing I know from trading as many years as I have now is that anything's possible. Anything's possible. But yeah, I mean, pretty much all the cards are stacked in one direction here to the long side, and we're coming into key prior resistance area, kind of here around 6,900. And it's Friday on an extended move. This move looks to be extended on pretty thin ice as far as the Iran ceasefire agreement, and it could come crashing back down quick. But I'm not going to be the first one trying to predict that. I'm just going to let the market tell me when that's happening and I see a good opportunity, and I can just react for it for a quick opportunity. I'm not going to try to guess the top. So let's see, do we have any other news? Let me check my economic calendar here. Yeah, we have Michigan inflation expectations, consumer expectations, and sentiment in 39 minutes. So watch out for that. Watch out for that. 10 a.m. news. Will it be high impact? I don't know. Sometimes it can be. You can take a look over at NQ here. Pretty similar stuff overall. We have these prior highs that we're coming into from that consolidation area that we were in before. Let me just take a screenshot here. We can take a look at NQ for those of you that are trading NQ right now. All right, so taking a look at NQ, I was watching kind of this upper line here where we can see we respected higher lows, or sorry, lower highs multiple times. We've broken out over that, but I am kind of watching this area at these prior highs to see, similar to what we talked about on ES, right? If we find exhaustion from buyers up here at these highs and absorption, or do we find acceptance and continuation? And we can take a look at the volume profile here on NQ as well. Right, so looking at these prior highs, kind of around 25,250 up into 25.5 up here, prior highs on the daily chart. Kind of watching out for that. And then looking at the near term 30-minute chart with the volume profile here, kind of looking similarly at this range. We have these prior highs here, right where the point of control is, around 25,300. And then we see this volume tail up here, right? So mostly balanced here in this range, around 25,250 there. So a lot of chop and balance in here. You can see all the volume built up here. And then we tried to rally up into those prior daily highs up here. And you can see so far not accepted, right? And the value area high is setting up here, right at the highs of this. We're kind of back below that, just over like 25,320-ish. So very similarly, what I'm watching for here this morning, if we get pops that fail and we continue to see exhaustion and we break back in this range, then I could easily see us dropping back at least towards the middle of this range here, or the lows. If buyers continue to hold this, right, and we hold this area and break out, then I would watch for continuation back up towards 25.4, 25.5. It's just kind of a general idea, pretty similar game plan overall to what I talked about on ES S&P. J-Rod, good morning. All right, so we got about 4 minutes till the bell here. Let me know in the chat if you guys have any thoughts on the game plan. Let me know in the chat what you guys are watching. Yeah, Wyckoff is the OG. Studies and Tape Reading is one of my favorite books. I think the market auction concepts still apply. I know there's the newer auction market theory stuff as well, which I look at as well. It's just, to me, it's kind of the same stuff. Yeah, tape reading and the studies of tape reading is essentially how I apply looking at order flow combined with the little bit more understanding of kind of the overall auction, which I look at through periods of balance and imbalance, especially with combined analysis on technical analysis charts, candle charts, but really that with volume by price. Looking a little heavy here on NQ, some selling, applying pressure back in here. You can see kind of a lot of offers stacking up here at the highs around 25,320s. This is where we rejected up here. We tried to pop into it. You can see the smaller bubble up here into these offers relative to this, right? So anytime I see lower highs into offers or vice versa into bids with weaker delta from the buyers, that to me is starting to signal exhaustion, at least in the near term, right? So when I see us make multiple lower highs with weaker delta from aggressive buyers and absorbed by offers, then at least in the near term, you know, I'm seeing signs of exhaustion. At least that's how I view it. Looking at the 4-hour chart, yeah, I mean, no doubt the charts are bullish right now, right? We're just rallying, basing, rallying. So let's take a look at my 4-hour chart here with same drawings and stuff that I had on Thinkorswim. So this is that channel that I was watching on that downtrend. We can see here and here. We kind of broke out of it, consolidated, and blasted out of it on the news of the ceasefire agreement in Iran, right? And then this area up here, to me, is interesting, which is kind of these areas around these prior lows, and you can see how that was kind of pivotal. We did kind of go up and down through it here a little bit, but this is where we kind of started that channel. So really this whole area here to me is, again, I'm not going to try to predict before it happens, but it's just a possible kind of resistance area here between there and there, really, right? We got prior highs here. This is kind of where we initiated this downtrending channel when we kind of broke down that multi-month consolidation range. So sellers were here, right? Now we're going to see if sellers want to reload up here. This was, again, kind of the origin of this downtrending channel that we went into, and we've had a pretty large rally into here where we've had some basing, but we've just continued to rally higher and higher up in here, and really explosive pop here right off the opening bell. So again, two things. I'm watching to see if buyers sustain kind of on ES above this kind of 68.70 plus or minus ish area, which is kind of the top upper end of the balance range that we went into yesterday afternoon. Also continued to respect that area overnight. The value area high is currently sitting there right around 68.70. So I'm watching this area to see, and we see I actually have an anchored VWAP level here. That's also sitting kind of right around 68.67. So multiple confluences there. Now we're going to see if buyers accept continued higher prices above here. If they do, I'm probably looking at those resistance areas that I talked about, 6,900, 6,950s, as a target area for longs, if, you know, I find an opportunity pull back to get in long. But equally, I got to watch out to see if buyers get exhausted up here. If buyers get exhausted up here and we can't hold this breakout of this range, then we could see a pretty sharp, pretty aggressive reversal. Yeah, good questions, guys. Good questions. Yeah, it's important when the market, especially like is on an uptrend like this, don't want to be a first seller trying to catch the top, right? We want to be pretty mindful of the context overall. We want to let bigger players start to show us their hand before we try to step in front of the train. aggressive pop back into these 80s here. These 80s are starting to look like a pretty key level to me. That's where we saw big bids. So these offers pulled. You can see on the heat map here, these offers pulled. This did not pull. In fact, they reloaded these offers here around these 80s. You can see they filled here and they reloaded these offers around 80s. And we don't see that again until up here around these 68, 90s. So this 80 spot is something to pay attention to here. I don't like jumping into trades in like the first 5 minutes. I really like to let at least the first 5 minutes, ideally the first 15 minutes, develop here. There's just too much of a surge of volume that can be a little unpredictable to me. Right? If you have a strategy that works around the first 5 minutes, then by all means, you do you. But for me, it can just lead to a lot of quick, unnecessary losses, right? I kind of like to let the first 5 to 15 minutes develop. And sometimes that comes at the risk of potentially just missing a move, and that's unfortunate. This thing is looking volatile for sure. Speed is there on the tape. Speed is on the tape. How do you combine order flow with market structure or price action? Price action, as far as candle chart patterns, doesn't mean too much to me. It's important to pay attention to, especially on higher time frames. I look a lot more at price action on like technical analysis perspective, on like daily charts, 6-hour charts, 4-hour charts. Really, I like daily charts for overall like market context, supply and demand areas, key support and resistance areas, that kind of stuff. To me, it all works together. The order flow, you can use order flow with a lot of different strategies. It helps with entry precision for if you have a price action strategy. For me, I primarily look at really basic support and resistance, supply and demand type stuff from higher time frames. Combine that with looking at volume profiles to identify a little bit nearer term balance and imbalance areas. And then so that each one is another degree of precision. So technical analysis based on, weekly, daily, like 6-hour type charts, key supply and demand, support and resistance areas, volume profile analysis on more intraday areas to find, the market's constantly going through balance, imbalance on a microstructure level by the second, and more intraday by ranges and stuff like that, right? The market is always going through balance and imbalance. Where is the market auction agreeing on price, and where is there an imbalance where aggressive participants that want to buy or sell right now are more in control? So it starts with higher time frame analysis of basic market structure, support and demand, supply and demand, support and resistance. Is the market overall sideways? Is it uptrending? Is it downtrending? Very simple. And then I get more specific. Okay, within that, let me look at volume profiles. Where is, in the nearer term, where are there areas of balance and imbalance? And then within that, I'm looking at the tape real time on Bookmap and footprint charts to identify the same thing, but just very, very near term, right? In the tape reading is essentially identifying the immediate trend in price, who is immediately in control of the tape, right? So I look at areas where there's high effort and high reward, where aggressive participants are driving continuation, or vice versa. If there's areas of high effort and low reward, that's showing me potentially absorption, where aggressive participants are getting absorbed by larger passive participants and getting exhausted, right? And so it's a blend of all of that. And to me, it all goes together, right? It would be a mistake, I think, unless you're, a high frequency trading algorithm scalping ticks by the millisecond, it would be a mistake to micro analyze the order flow without the overall structural analysis of where is there balance and imbalance, what's the overall macro theme in the market right now. It's very significantly Iran war, right? So what's the macro theme? What's the overall higher time frame context, right? Where's major supply and demand support and resistance, right? Where is the market balance and imbalance? And then where can I get, really precise entries on that with order flow? It would be a mistake to reverse that order and try to read the order flow by like the millisecond and trying to just jump into trades. So it's important to, I think, go through it in that order. Unless you're, a high frequency algorithm, scalping ticks by the second, finding like micro imbalances in the market. That is probably the most efficient area of the market, right? So very hard to do that as a retail order flow trader, tape reader. I like, other than Bookmap, somebody asked something about TPO charts. Other than Bookmap, I like footprint charts to analyze pretty much the same thing. The only thing with like analyzing like a footprint chart of the delta by the tick, basically, volume and delta by the tick. I look at that in 5-point ranges on ES. Sometimes when volatility is high, like now, I may expand that to like 7 points, 28 ticks. But the only real disadvantage there with that is you don't have the heat map like you do here to see where the passive orders are. So we popped back up into that range around 68.80s, kind of got exhausted. Big buyer stepped in here, but oh wow, 2,600 lots actually there. So yeah, big buyer. I'm seeing on my footprint chart like 2,600 lots, 2,673 here at, it's actually right at my 20 EMA level, like exactly to the tick, at 86.69. So basically 86.70. That's that same 86.70 spot that I talked about. So that's interesting. Big buyer stepped in there. We'll see if that is supported or not. But I'll tell you, the lower highs with weaker positive delta from aggressive buyers up there around 68.80s, and now we're breaking back under 68.70s, kind of looks potentially a little weak here. So first kind of 10 minutes is in here. That one big bubble kind of skewed my whole chart now. Shorts on Bitcoin are printing. I don't trade crypto. did years ago, but I don't trade crypto anymore, so I don't really track it. When losing, what makes you upset? Losing money or being wrong? I'm human, or you don't get upset at all. I'm human, so of course I get upset. I would say, as far as frustration, probably one of the biggest frustrating things for me at this point is having good analysis and just kind of fumbling the execution, maybe getting stopped out before the move that I basically was looking for. And sometimes it's my fault, like I just kind of mis-execute, or sometimes something just randomly and unpredictable happens. But I would say for me, it's just not executing the way I know I'm capable and should, and either missing a move that I had planned, or just getting stopped on it, just mistiming it or something like that. And being right, but then also just kind of being wrong, just not executing it well. Right? Sometimes you're just a little off with your timing and stuff like that, and that's frustrating to me, because it's like if I'm just wrong on a trade, I can accept that. That's no problem. That's part of the game. But the one that's frustrating to me is when I am right, but I just don't do my part to execute at the way that I should. That's kind of frustrating. Yeah, we're kind of chilling here now. We're kind of back inside this value area here now. It is looking kind of weak, but we have more Michigan new consumer confidence news at 10 a.m. So that's just 16 minutes away now. I'll give you guys another view, because this is pretty clean. I just got this and just set this up, so I'm still developing with this, but this is a pretty cool view here on deep charts. Deep chart, right? So I have something similar that I already use, like on Tradebait and Sierra chart, which is my volume profile, value area high, value area low, point of control, and then I have it filtered, this indicator, just to show me kind of like Bookmap, but only looking at kind of bigger trades. So this is filtered to only show me bubbles of 150 lots or greater. That's kind of something that I look for on footprint charts anyway. So 150 lots or greater, I'll see one of these bubbles pop up. And what I'm looking at here is, on this drive into these highs, kind of above 68.80, that's kind of the top of that volume tail there, where volume kind of declines. And what I'm looking at is one, kind of what I talked about, what I showed you guys on Bookmap, how the delta from aggressive buyers got kind of weaker up there at the highs. And we saw that on the heat map on Bookmap. These guys get absorbed, right? And then we had that tail. We made lower highs, and then you can see on this pop, weaker delta from buyers again. And now aggressive sellers are kind of driving price back under those lows, back into the value area here, right? So I would really want to ideally see like some kind of an impulsive pop that gets me an opportunity to short more near the extreme of the range. I'm a little hesitant to enter back in here. But that's something I'd watch out for if that develops here. But this is kind of a clean view to show you guys. And that's a 5-minute chart, by the way. 5-minute chart, and I'm looking at the volume profile today, and then also looking at larger trades, 150 lots or greater. I just set this up. I'm kind of just playing with it right now for extra analysis. You can see all the offers up here on the heat map between like 72 and 75. If we get a pop up in there that continues to look exhausted and absorbed, that might be pretty interesting for a short for me. If it just kind of breaks straight down from here, I might just miss it. Not great, not good enough risk versus reward for what I'm looking to target. Although it's a good play. We got news coming out in 13 minutes. Target would probably be like more of this value area low down here under 68.55, 68.60. It may break down further than that, but that would just be like my first high probability target. We're seeing a lot of repeated effort from buyers trying to get back up over these 70s and not successful. So in the near term, you can see these highs here. These buyers are getting smoked. Those charts look weird. They are not standard. Which charts? The ones on my deep chart? Yeah, I customized that for myself. I just started messing with that yesterday. But volume profile, big trades, simple stuff, but simple works. Tendra said, Matt, for traders that are not a scalper like me, you feel like the past month have been really tough to trade. I got smacked by tweets, headlines too often. Should I change my strategy? No, I don't think you should change your strategy. The past couple months have been difficult for a lot of people across a lot of strategies. I know a lot of people, bigger traders, professional traders, and a lot of people across the board, across a lot of different strategies, are starting to adapt and do well, but it's not been easy for sure. Nobody can predict the news headlines that are going to come out and radically swing the market. Unless you're, an insider. So, that's been tricky to navigate. For me, personally, it's not a matter, as I adapt to different market conditions and stuff, it's not a matter of scrapping my strategy and looking for a different strategy. It's just a matter of kind of tweaking some management things, trade management or entry, things like that. For me, I've been looking more to higher time frame levels. I've been really staying away from trades inside value, right? So that's part of the reason I'm just sitting. We kind of already dropped back into this value area here. Unfortunately, the only opportunity that was up in that area where I wanted to enter was in that first 5 minutes after 9:30, and I didn't really want to participate there. I'm also have been really staying away from inside day trades, inside value area trades. Just it's been too choppy, and we've been often seeing a lot of chop, and then boom, one move that is either kind of you're already positioned for it or you're not. So that's a little tricky. But for me anyway, I've been looking to a lot more higher time frame levels, higher time frame analysis, prior day highs, prior day lows and stuff, etc. And then I've been taking quicker profits off of them, right? I'm not trying to hit home runs on every trade, looking at higher time frame stuff. So that means more selectivity and less trades for me. And that's what's been helpful for me lately. So no, I don't think the market is constantly going through different conditions that you have to adapt to. It's not a matter of scrapping your strategy and restarting with a whole new strategy. That doesn't make sense. It's a matter of adapting, your trade management, right? Whether you maybe add into trades, whether you trail profit, or maybe you target quicker take profits, right? There's different things like that, and stop loss management. Obviously, higher volatility, you're probably going to need wider stops, lower position sizing to account for that. If you don't adapt to those types of things, then you have too big a size, too close a stops, you're getting yourself chopped unnecessarily. So there's just different trade management things that you have to learn to adapt to in different market conditions. And for me, I've been through enough cycles of this type of stuff where the market gets very volatile or not. And so I just kind of have an idea of what setups and what things that I look for, whether the market's uptrending, downtrending, or sideways. And then within that, depending on the volatility and direction of the market, I have some different things that I adjust in terms of trade management. And a lot of that is just position sizing, stop loss kind of locations and targets, and then how I manage a trade, whether I trail stops for wider profits, whether I gonna go all in and all out. Just smaller trade management stuff like that, not totally like restarting the strategy. Yeah, I was in the military, Rosem Salah. I was in the United States Marine Corps. So looking at this footprint chart here, you can see how, first of all, I have VWAP and 20 EMA here. Just for, I don't use the indicators as like a trade signal or anything like that. It's just kind of a piece of context for me, just kind of like value areas and things like that. Piece of context. And you can see how we're right in the middle. Look at this volume peak right here. 20 EMA, VWAP, everything is telling us we're in the middle here, and we got some more news coming out. So like for me right now, I'm not trying to touch that right here. Ain't no way. When marking levels and volume profile for higher time frame analysis, would you prefer to do it in the contract specific chart or the continuous? For volume, you got to look at contract specific charts. For higher time frame kind of technical analysis, I often look at contract adjusted continuous charts. So we popped up here into these highs where we saw this before, and look at all these offers that stepped in here on these 70s. We got news coming out in 5 minutes, so heads up. News coming in 5 minutes, so heads up, guys. Good questions in the chat, though. Because of this price action, I think we will sweep one area and then go full throttle the other way. Yeah, that's something that happens pretty often. That's something that happens pretty often, no doubt. That is how I trade balance ranges, for sure. That is the most high probability thing to do. Yeah, I have a full trade setup specifically for that, which you guys may get on Chart Academy. So make sure you guys are signed up for Chart Academy. Make sure you get on the wait list to join in there. Team, whoever's on the chat, can you guys drop the link for people to get on the wait list for that? Reminder to check that out if you guys haven't already. NQ is overextended, sweeping 4-hour highs, short today. Yeah, Anik, I've been talking about that. going back to the daily chart, you know, I was watching those prior highs, especially because this rally is fairly extended, in my opinion, on pretty thin ice with the Iran ceasefire. So I'm not trying to call a top. I'll see what the market auction does up there when we get there. But yeah, I'm watching these highs kind of around here, as well as ES kind of also being at that resistance area that I talked about. So let me recap that in case anyone joined late here. Right, so a couple major higher time frame things. One, this, and I'm just gonna quickly touch on this before we got the news in a couple minutes. One, on ES, we got this area around these prior lows that I'm watching as potentially resistance, kind of around 6,900. And then two, on NQ, looking at that, we got these prior highs right here also, right? So both of these are scenarios where we could see, I'm not saying we will, because the market can stay extended and do crazy things, but we could see the market get exhausted, right? At least in the near term, we could see buyers get exhausted. I'm just watching out for that cautiously. I'm not saying I'm just gonna automatically short the top. I'm just saying that this could become an exhausted buyers rally here at this area, because we got prior daily highs on NQ, we got a key kind of prior lows resistance area on ES, we've got a pretty extended move on that, in my opinion, fundamentally is a little preemptive to this Iran ceasefire agreement. So it's just possible that this could become an exhausted rally up here and we could revert. I'm not saying we're going to go break down the lows that we made earlier this month, but I'm just saying we could see a near-term reversal back towards kind of the middle of this range. And here's another interesting thing, which I haven't done yet. Let me draw a fib from the highs to the lows that we made so far, just to show you. Yeah, so the 50% of this price leg is all the way back down at 66.20, just for context. Yeah, 1 minute till news. Look at the heat map. See how all the resting orders pulled, right? So this is, yeah, heads up. You can see on the heat map how all the resting orders pulled ahead of this 10 a.m. news. So you can see wild swings because there's not really any liquidity. So if anyone, you know, hits the bid or hits the ask right on the news, you know, it's going to create wild, unpredictable price movement because the tape is very thin, right? There's not a lot of passive orders to be filled above or below price. So if people slam the bid, slam the ask, then, you know, we can see kind of wild price swing. So just heads up. Bevo asked, why do you start using deep chart? What was interesting point? I have been using footprint charts and Bookmap for years. And so those are like my order flow tools that I'm expert with. However, I use Thinkorswim for candle charts, which isn't just higher time frame analysis. So I was kind of interested in checking out deep charts for more of my candle charts because it has some order flow overlays with that. So I can, instead of just using basic candle charts for my technical analysis, I can use that to have kind of some order flow analysis there as well, and volume profiles and stuff, because I don't really have good kind of volume profiles and things like that on Thinkorswim. So something I'm evaluating, and it's got its own unique tools and features and stuff that's pretty cool. So I'm checking it out. Do you consider Wyckoff market cycles? Yes. I can, to be honest, it's all the same to me. Like Wyckoff is the OG, right? Studies and Tape Reading is one of my favorite books, like I talked about before. But to me, it's not so much of like the kind of perspective of like, yes, I look at accumulation, markup, markdown, distribution, but it's one and the same to me as kind of auction market theory and balance and imbalance, right? To me, it's all the same thing. It's just supply and demand, aggressive purchase. It's just a market auction, right? So, I look at different phases. Now, if the market makes a really extended rally into a key area of resistance, the key supply zone, and we see a balance range form, then I'm looking at that like, yeah, this could potentially be like a distribution type cycle, right? We're forming a new balance range, but this could be an area where big players are profit taking and selling, right? So, and the same thing at the lows, right? That when that forms a supplier demand zone in real time, that is kind of the cycles of accumulation and distribution that Wyckoff talks about. Good questions. How many of you in the chat, let me know, how many of you in the chat are actually use order flow in your trading? Whether you use a price action strategy and you just use order flow for entries, or put a 1 in the chat if you currently use order flow, or 2 if you're just learning. You're just kind of looking at it. I want to get a feel. Put a 1 in the chat if you currently use order flow already, you're just learning more and more mastery, or 2, you don't really use it, but you're exploring it for potential more precision, more understanding of the actual markets. Interesting. So kind of a mix here, kind of a mix of 1s and 2s. A lot of 1s though. Gusta Trades asked a question. Would you wait some minutes after news to wait and see the news result on the market, or would you trade according to what Bookmap is showing you regardless of the news timing? I'm never in a position going into news. Let me say one caveat. The only exception where I might be in a position going into news is where I've already taken a trade, I'm in substantial profit, I'm holding a small runner, and it's kind of a lotto. But at that point, I'm trailing my risk. I'm not going to hold a loss on it. So if I'm up substantially, I've already taken like 90% profit going into news, and I'm just kind of holding a small runner as just kind of a lotto. Okay. Don't recommend that for new traders. And it's infrequent and rare that I do that. But yeah, the minutes before or after the opening bell, like 9:30, and higher impact news events, I'm not in trades. And guys, the reason is because the tape is thin and there's a surge of orders. I'm a very precise short-term trader, right? So when the tape is very thin and there's a surge of volume that can just skew it, it's just a total coin flip. It's a total gamble. I don't personally have a strategy for that. Maybe some people do, right? And that's fine. But for me personally, I don't hold or trade right into news. Now, minutes after the news, like say just 30 seconds to a minute after the news, say price makes an impulsive move into a key area, I see my confirmations on Bookmap, whatever, cool. I may be in a trade just a couple minutes after news, depending on what happens and the confirmations and things like that. But I'm not gambling right on the news with a thin tape and a sporadic surge of volume, and I'm not holding a trade into news, especially close to my target or close to my entry. Ever, not even once. Fun story. When I started out more actively day trading back in like 2020, 2021, before that I mostly was swing trading. I I was trading options, personal account, right? This was, I don't even think prop firms were really a thing back then. And definitely not for options. But yeah, I had too much confidence from early successes and was going in too heavy, too much size, too fast. And I was trading 0 DTEs into FOMC and like lost like 10 grand on a single trade. So yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, put a yes in the chat if you've done something dumb and blown up a lot of money fast before. Is it just me? You're either putting a yes in the chat or you're a liar or you're brand new to trading. But listen, guys, it's a painful lesson. You gotta use losses and failures as a lesson to get better. And it's not only a matter of getting better at your skill at this game. It's also very much a matter of sucking less, right? That's what I always say is win slow, suck less, right? And sucking less means you're always going to have losses, right? I'm not saying eliminating losses. That's unrealistic. But eliminating unforced errors, unnecessary mistakes, unnecessary losses, things that are not part of your trade setup systems or setups, things that are against your rules anyway, the losses that you just shouldn't take. And for most of us here, I would bet that those are the things that are most keeping you not profitable if you're not a profitable trader already. It's not the strategy losses, the good trades losses, like, because you can take good trades and they just lose. It's the ones that you can't afford, which are the really unnecessary ones, the tilt days, the blow ups, the taking trades that you already know you shouldn't be in, right? So learn from it, tattoo it on your face, and don't do it again. Easier said than done. What is your advice when we don't take lessons from losses? You're probably not journaling it like you should. Journal more. TradeZella is a great tool. We're gonna have a TradeZella giveaway, by the way. So make sure you are reflecting on what you did so you can learn from it and track it. If you don't track it, and it's good to quickly move past mistakes. You don't want to dwell mentally on mistakes and just drag you down, right? But you want to give yourself time to reflect on it and learn from it, and maybe review it going into the next day. So there's a difference between letting it weigh on you and festering on the mistake that you made, and reviewing it, acknowledging it, accepting it, and moving past it. Big difference. So I'll give you an example. A good thing to do would be, you had a bad day, you went on tilt, you blew up, you broke your rules, whatever. Log it, journal it, identify, okay, what were the things that happened that led one to another, right? It started with one, frustration. I missed a setup that I wanted to take. Then step two, I got frustrated. I took a revenge trade. Then I got even more frustrated because that trade lost. And then I tried to size up and take another trade to make back the loss that I shouldn't have taken to begin with, right? That type of thing. So then identify and track all that, write it down, right? And then reflect on that and the mistake. Okay, I'm human, I make mistakes. I promise you, every single person in this chat has been there or they're going to be there, right? And then track it, accept it, move on from it. The wrong thing to do is to just, be frustrated about that, blow up, don't acknowledge it, don't track it, don't reflect on it, and then come right back into the next day, like move past it, but you didn't really move past it because it's still in the back of your head coming into the next day. And then right off the bat, you're like slamming the bid in the ass trying to make back what you lost right away. And then you lose even more. And then you go on, a multi-day blow up cycle. Put a yes in the chat if you know what I'm talking about. So there's a difference between tracking something, accepting it, learning from it, and then moving past it and not letting it weigh you down. And then there's a difference between that and trying to just forget it and move past it and then come in the next day and repeat the mistakes. So in the team here, let's get them a good question giveaway. Whoever asked that. So we're popping back into these highs. Moving back up into these highs here. Kind of consolidated here around that 68.70 area. Buyers coming back in. See this surge of buying kind of increasing, the delta kind of increasing as we come back up here. This value area high is sitting here now at 68.75, where we just touched. If you're looking for longs, but there are huge passive offers, how do you identify if it's spoofing or real orders? If they pull when price moves into it. If the orders are pulled as price moves into there, then it's not, it's just spoofed, really. So if I'm in a trade and, you know, say I'm in long and we're near my target and maybe I see significant offers coming in and filling, then I may view that as a red flag to go ahead and like take profit. Congrats to Ron's 8686 for the Trader Funding Challenge. Make sure you head over to the Chart Fanatics Discord to claim that. Go to the support channel section and claim it within 24 hours. Congratulations. This is a little slower, given the speed of the tape early on and CPI this morning. I really was watching out for a little bit more, but this has turned pretty choppy here. Eric just joined in. Congrats, welcome in there. If this thing just kind of keeps slowly grinding through the highs up here, then it's not something that I necessarily want to short, but we'll see what happens. You know, ideally for that kind of fade on a failed exhausted breakout, you'd see a quicker spike of buying, get trapped and exhausted and revert pretty quickly. If we kind of just grind our way up through there and just keep seeing steady buying, just kind of grinding our way up through there, no real major reaction or anything, then I'll probably just sit out of it. Yeah, there's a lot of passive orders here around 75, 76, and then again up here around 80. Remember, 80 was that key spot that we saw re-offered. So that aggressive spike off news, some offers filled there, and then they re-offered it again, you can see, and then we spiked up there again and filled that offer up there. So that's kind of a key spot. Matter of fact, I'm gonna mark this just so I remember to watch that spot up there around 80. But a lot of aggressive buying coming in right now. I'm gonna continue to stay patient here personally. We are coming up to kind of the top portion of the value area here around 75, 76. And that's where the volume is tailing off above there. Looking at the chat to see if I missed anything. Patrick, yeah, that is totally different. So seeing some offers up here around these 76s. That's that value area high up here. Not super interesting. Didn't really see any big orders or anything, but it's there. And we see these offers appear, get filled, and looks like it appeared again here around 76s. Yeah, the giveaways are based. Oh, see, this is an example. See how that pulled there? By the way, somebody was asking earlier, how do you identify that? I'm gonna watch this area here because something's going on here around these 76s, which is also the value area high here. And you can see how they put an offer here but pulled it. But sometimes we see that and then price moves up in there and they do still hit it, either with an aggressive order or they quickly put that offer back on. So possibly some games being played. Possibly some games being played here. It's pretty slow though. It's a little tricky when it kind of gets this slow and grindy in the first hour to me. Let's take a look at NQ. What's going on with NQ? Wow. It's a grind. It's a grind. Yeah, look at, so this is a good time where I like to just kind of look at my charts and be like, all right, what's the 15-minute candle chart look like? Kind of ugly. So I'm chilling. A lot of people can take good trades, but they don't know how to stop themselves from taking bad trades. That's the differentiator too, guys. So look at this. Wicks. The candle bodies are like just a tiny little bar here in the middle of this range. So very, be careful here, guys. Be careful here, right? It's important when we see this to not overanalyze something and be like, oh, this is it, we're going, and then we're just oscillating. So be aware. Do you mark value high and low from the first 30 minutes? Because I mark that on the 5 minutes different, or treating that as a zone? No, I mostly look at the value area of like the whole daily volume profile session. I do pay attention to like the opening range though in the first like 30 minutes to an hour, depending on like what structure sets up there. I do pay attention to that. I do trade setups similar to like an opening range breakout, although I don't really call it that because most people that trade that are purely like looking for that on like a price action structure. That's not what I do. But when I see large, significant momentum, especially in the first 30 minutes, then I call that like a morning momentum setup, not kind of similar to like an ORB, although I don't really look for candle chart structure to form for it to be an ORB, if that makes sense. It's kind of back and forth here, 50-50, kind of consolidating. And one thing I really like about a footprint chart versus a candle chart is it really filters out a lot of noise, right? So you can just see, anytime I see like a range like this on the 5-point bars, because this does not open up new bars by time, it opens up new bars by the 5-point range. And actually this is a time where I'd probably like to expand this 5-point range to like a 7-point range, so it's not opening up so many bars for these small tick moves just barely outside the 5-point, right? But you can just see, one, how thin the volume is on the bars, and two, you can see how we've just been hanging out around the 20 EMA and VWAP, around this peak volume area, right? Nothing really substantial. Now, there's a lot of aggressive buying here, which we can see coming in, and this is getting rewarded with price movement here. So effort plus reward here from buyers since around 10, 11 a.m., right? So we'll see if that continues and maybe holds, or if it comes to a point and gets significantly absorbed up at the highs of this range. We'll see. Take a look at NQ footprint, pretty grindy, pretty much the same thing. I am looking at 25,400. You can see on the heat map here, big dark spot there, 25,400 on the heat map. So watch out for that. I'm not tracking. Yeah, we had news come out at 10 a.m., but I'm not tracking if there's any unplanned news, headline news. Some aggressive selling stepping back in here. All right, guys, give me 2 minutes. I'm going to step away for 2 minutes. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. What happened? What'd I miss? What'd it do? Nothing. Darn. A lot of times lately, it doesn't make moves until I walk away when I'm on live trading. It literally will just grind until I walk away. And then as soon as I walk away, it'll make a move. Didn't work this time, still grinding. Yeah, when I just kind of see this grind up into the highs here, that's not really something that I'm looking to fade right away. And there's a lot of aggressive buying continuing to come into these highs, so I'm kind of chilling here. A lot of aggressive buying, definitely chilling. So here's that 80 spot we're coming back up into with all this aggressive buying here. That was where we saw big offers fill multiple times, big passive sellers fill multiple times. Yeah, I moved up a bit now. More big buying coming in. Big aggressive buying hitting up here. So we'll see if this gets rewarded and continues up here. We're back outside that value area now, back up into that volume tail with some big aggressive buying coming in. Hey, congratulations, Sammy Roll 81. So some big aggressive buying up here into these highs. Price kind of running back away from it. Some big buying hit up there around that 80. See it right there. More bids coming in. Let us know if you're in the chat still, Sammy Roll 81. Some aggressive sellers kind of stepping back in here. Yeah, congratulations, Sammy Roll. Make sure you check out the Chart Fanatics Discord. Go ahead and claim that trade 12-month trade Zella. Some aggressive selling coming back in here now. See if we get another exhausted pop from these buyers up here, or if we hold now and break out. Some more offers up here around these 80, 81s. It's just so dang slow. Some bigger selling hitting now. I'd like to confirm some large aggressive selling, and then I'd like to see like a weaker pop with some less negative delta, less positive delta from buyers. We're starting to confirm aggressive selling coming in. So if we get a pop that's weak that offers defend against, that might be interesting here. Not much. Not seeing much. Just hanging around. Some selling starting to step in here. Selling starting to step in here. Offers coming in here back around this 79. Offers coming back in here around the 79. I'm going to try this, guys. Tried it short here at 78. I'm going to have a stop just over all these offers that are coming in above 80, 81 here. Looking for a quick mean reversion back down under 72. I want to be right pretty fast about the timing of this. This is what I said. I wanted to see a pop with weaker delta from buyers. That's kind of what we got there, and we got offers coming in. It's a little 50-50 here. Are we going to squeeze out of this range to the upside up towards 6,900, or are we going to revert back into here? We'll see. But it's a little bit of an asymmetric bet here if we mean revert. I'd like to see some more aggressive selling come in, pretty fast to confirm this. I don't want to see it really hang out here around my entry for a long time. Once I've confirmed like this big buying absorbed and then weaker buying coming in and aggressive selling, I really like to see aggressive selling come in kind of quickly once we've spotted some exhaustion from buyers up here. If it doesn't, then we may just kind of chop and grind our way out of here. Bids kind of coming in there. I don't like how the volume just died out there. I liked how after my entry, we got some immediate aggressive selling. I don't like how that aggressive selling immediately just kind of fizzled out and the volume just died. I like to see this move, once we've kind of confirmed the absorption and aggressive selling coming in at the highs of the range like this, I like to see that aggressive selling come in. A little heavy. There's a lot of negative delta stacking up here, just under my entry around like 76, 77. I don't want to see that absorbed. I want to see that rewarded with downside continuation. Kind of going counter trend here too, so. Come on, sellers. Are you gonna do this thing or what? Feels like I'm gonna get squeezed out. If selling's not coming in, you know, pretty aggressively after my entry like that, then I don't love it. Feels like it may go take out the highs again. There's a lot of negative delta coming in, which is what I was expecting to see. I am seeing it. It's just not really moving price lower from here, which I don't, that's what I don't love, is I am seeing the aggressive effort from sellers, which is what I expected to see. However, it's just not really dropping price here yet, like I was targeting to happen yet. It may still, but crazy. 10:40 in the morning, a high pop like this, and the volume just, there we go. All right, come on now. It's got to do it. I'm going to go break even pretty quick here. Either this drop is successful with this aggressive selling or not. I'm going to let it breathe for just a second, but the entry was confirmed. The aggressive selling is confirmed. Now it's just a matter, does it actually get continuation, or do we now hold outside this range and we go break down? We're getting the aggressive selling that I wanted to see. It's just a really grind here, not getting strong, quick downside. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right, I'm all out there. Target hit. I was like, it's not working. What's going on? Boom, target hit. There we go. Target hit. So I was like, what's going on? Everything is there. This should be dropping. This should be dropping. Oh man. Jeez. Yeah, so I was looking, I didn't even get it. That happened so quick. I didn't even get to push my target out. I had my target order sitting at 70. I was in at 78. My stop was just over 80. So I was risking 2 points to make 8 points. Not a crazy move, but we don't have a crazy range here today, guys. I'm making lemonade out of lemons. You know, I would have liked to market exit a little bit lower, but once that happened, it happened so fast. I couldn't even move my dang order fast enough. Because I had a limit sell order sitting down there, or a limit buy to cover order sitting down there. There we go, guys. So listen, we don't have a big range today. We don't have a big range today. We have a clear balance range developing. It's risky going counter trend like I did, but we had context, right? Do you guys want to go through a live trade recap? Because that's a one and done for me, guys. That's a one and done for me on this choppy, slow Friday here. Do you guys want to go through a live trade recap of the context, location, the confirmations that I saw? Drop a yes in the chat if you want me to recap that here, in case you missed it. It might go lower, but on a counter trend balance range fade like this, I'm just going right all out at my target at the mean reversion. And this thing might drop 100 points from here, and I'm gonna be like, gosh darn it. Oh man. If I was trading that with small size, I was just in one contract. So if I was in more contracts, maybe I would have trailed. But all right, you guys want a trade recap? Let's do it live. So I like the visual here on deep charts because it gives me the overall analysis that I was looking at multiple different tools for. So I'll give it to you all in one here, and then I'll look at the confirmations that I saw. So first of all, we have this balance range form up here at this key area of resistance, just under that area that I talked about of key, higher time frame resistance. We see a pretty evenly distributed balance range forming where we have the point of control in the middle, the value area at the low, and value area at the high there, value area high and low, right? And it also overlaps with the balance range that we saw form yesterday afternoon, slightly above, but yesterday afternoon was pretty balanced. We moved slightly above higher time resistance and then balanced again. Okay. So, and then another piece. So every time I go through a trade setup, I'm first looking at like, what's the overall market context and location. Context is being like, okay, the market is balanced at a resistance area after an extended rally. Location is we have this key area around 80 where we saw the big orders hitting multiple times today. And we saw those offers defending them. So that was a key location level from the order flow. Another piece of location context is we saw aggressive buying multiple times up here, unrewarded, right? So look at a lot of aggressive effort from buyers up here, unrewarded. Okay, what that means is they're getting absorbed by passive sellers, at least in the near term. We may go break this out from here, right? So context, market is balanced. We're at this higher time frame resistance area. Location is we have value area high around 78, and we have this area we've seen absorption multiple times now around 68.80. Confirmations, we saw the aggressive absorption there. We saw aggressive selling start to step in, leaving lower highs, and then we saw weak. Look at this weaker bubble there, right around 78s. That's the weaker selling. So in my opinion, like once I see large absorption, I see the market try to pop again with less positive delta. That's like buyers taking one last breath, right? To me, that's like their last breath, larger delta, weaker delta at this context and location. Very likely we're about to drop back to the middle here, which is 70. That mean that's where my take profit was. Now, sometimes you may get lucky and you're in that high and we go all the way and break down the lows of the range. If I'm in multiple contracts, I may look for that and scale that. But the highest probability piece is just here to here. And, with my stop being where it was just at 80 there, right? So green being my stop in this case and red being my take profit. And so you can visualize right there how high that risk versus reward is, even on a small balanced range scalp in just a couple minutes. Make sense? I'll drop this in the Discord in case anyone would like to review that. And then now we can look at it on Bookmap to see the same thing, right? So this is that 80 level that I marked up here at 80. So this is the big absorption right here on the heat map at 80. We see the passive seller fill into this aggressive selling. And then here is where we see these pops with weaker delta, right? Weaker positive delta. And again, we can see these offers appearing again. These are big passive sellers again hitting these weaker these weaker aggressive buyers are hitting again into this. And look, we're going to drop further from here now that I took profit at my target. That's okay, right? I did my job. So looking at this is the same thing we just saw on deep chart with the candle chart and the volume profile. Now you see the volume profile here on Bookmap. We see the highs of it here. We see that 80 level where we saw absorption multiple times today. We saw it again there, and then we saw weaker highs. So this is a concept that I teach people from the studies in tape reading. In the studies of tape reading, 100-plus-year-old book now, the OG Wyckoff, talks about when you're reading the tape, identifying the point where you see aggressive participants show where they're weak and strong. And he describes it as seeing an arrow. Like imagine an arrow, like from a bow and arrow. Like on one side, you see where the aggressive, strong participants are. And that is beginning to show you where the point direction arrow end is. And on the flip side, when you see the weaker participants showing, that's the feather end of the arrow, right? The direction price is not going to go. So in this case, I'm not looking at this as the point of the arrow. I'm looking at this as absorption from big passive sellers. And then I'm looking in real time of the arrow like flips, right? So in this instance, we see big absorption and then big sellers starting to step in, right? And that's showing me the point of the arrow. And then these weaker participants leaving multiple lower highs here, the feather end of the arrow. Right? So once I see that form like this, these weaker highs, and I'll show you what that looks like on a footprint chart as well, that's where I'm like, okay, absorption, aggressive reversal starting, exhaustion. Boom. That's where I take my entry as close to I can around that exhaustion, around 78, 79. I have a really tight invalidation just over 80, and I have a target down here at the mean, even with a very humble, mean reversion scalp here, that's still 4R. Because of the precision with order flow. Now, we'll take a look at my footprint chart where I executed that trade to show you what that looks like on here, right? My limit order actually doesn't look like it got filled, and then it did get filled. So this is where I took it short here, just at 78, with a stop just over that 80 area, which is where we saw the exhaustion, right? So the same thing, we see all the aggressive buying here absorbed. Look at the volume tail at the high there. A lot of aggressive buyers absorbed around that key 80 area. And then we see a tail at the high, right? So they're done, they're dead, they're exhausted. And then we see the subsequent pop. Look how little positive delta there is. That's why I was saying, like, I'm taking it short because my invalidation is so tight right here. I'm seeing exhaustion. And as soon as a decent bit of selling comes in, it's going to have an easy time reverting. Now, here's that area that we were watching around the mean, around 70, where my target was, took profit there at 70. And also to add confluence to that, we have VWAP and the 20 EMA hanging out right in the middle of that balance range where that volume is. So that's just, in these conditions, that's just going to act like a magnet to price, right? And so I can get greedy and hope, not greedy, but what's the right word? Ambitious. I could get ambitious to try to target the low of the balance range, but honestly, getting late in the morning on a Friday, guys, here, I'm just going all out at my first target, the mean reversion. It's still good because look at this. Let me clean this up. Jeez, I suck. It's still good because, giving you guys a visual, that is my take profit. And oh my goodness, I actually suck. Oh my goodness. Just giving you guys a visual. That's the take profit, even on a very, humble scalp like this. And that's the risk, right? Makes sense? So, using order flow like this, yeah, we might make a bigger move from now. I don't know. It's getting late on the day. I kind of want to go enjoy my weekend. But using order flow like this, you can kind of, this is why it's so powerful, like in all different conditions, because you can make lemonade out of lemons sometimes. Even in a balance range like this, you can still get a high risk versus reward trade. You guys feel me? Put a yes in the chat if you just learned about this ATM machine. And smash a like if you guys like the free value. Here. Now, what's going to happen next from here? I don't know. We may go break down. Like I said, you know, we're kind of consolidating at this key resistance area up here at this high. There's not much below, in my opinion. Like we could, if we do break down this range now, we could drop a long ways to find support. That's possible. I'm just not betting on it right now, although it's possible. I'm just, you know, following my plan in these conditions. Now, if we break this down and I get additional confirmations that we're now breaking this with aggression and we get a pop, that's maybe an additional trade setup, right? And so I already padded profit with this nice scalp, and now maybe an additional trade setup does happen if we do break down. But given how the day has just consolidated around that range, like look at this if I zoom out here. On my footprint chart, like what a range here, guys. Right, see there's my volume profile, right? There's my trade. So some people might say, oh, that's just a fake out of the high. Well, right, but without seeing it precisely on order flow with precise invalidation, what if we popped this high and we didn't see what I saw? We saw large aggressive buying driving continuation. Well, in that instance, it'd be likely we're going to break out and continue, right? So just at a candle chart alone, I don't really know if we're going to fake out this high and drop, or, you know, if we're going to drive continuation with large aggressive buying. But looking at the order flow in real time, that's how I can determine if it's a high probability that we're going to mean revert, or if it's a high probability that we're going to break out and continue. And I can see that in real time with the order flow. Now, buyers defended that area in the middle. We're going back up to the highs with more aggressive buying. So we may eventually hold this area and break out now. I don't know. That's why I took profit at my target. All right, guys, I think that's going to be a wrap for me. Thank you all for tuning in today to Chart Fanatics Live, and I will see you guys. Next week, I will actually be live on Chart Fanatics on Monday and not Friday. So if you guys want to tune in live with me on Chart Fanatics Live on YouTube, I'll be here on Monday next week. Just a heads up. So a switcheroo, just one time switcheroo next week. Heads up. All right. So what I'd be watching going forward here today is really fundamentally nothing has changed from my game plan going into this morning. And my game plan going into this morning was simply this balance range here. Do we break out with large aggression and continue above it into the 6900s and above? Or do we exhaust and revert? And do we revert really hard and break down? I don't know. But focusing on the highs of this range, do we get exhaustion and revert? Or do we get aggression and continue? Right? That's what I'd be watching going forward today. All right. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you guys Monday next week. Peace.